Okay, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Entertainment Hub. And in today's video, we are going to be doing the part 2 of the Svelte-kit Paystack application that you guys previously saw in my video. So don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to comment in the comment section below. Okay, so today we're going to be using the form actions part to get our whole thing running. I've already pre-modeled all of this. I've already pre-written them, but we're going to start everything from scratch again. Okay, with that, let's just get into the code. So right here, you can already see that I already have some pre-written out code, and I'm going to explain everything in a bit. So first of all, npm run dev, go over to this. No. I'll just close up these tabs. Localhost 5173. Okay, so in order for this to work, we're going to use the form actions part, and let's see what we can do with it. So we're just going to put in an email amount of like 20,000 and name, submit, hit enter. Carries us to our checkout page, and yeah, so this cool. Okay. Let me just quickly add a home button here. It's just really stressful. One thing about me is that I like my code to always be written out well, and so that I won't have to start because minor corrections. I know that these corrections are going to eventually have to be there so that the code will look nice and okay. So yeah, instead of putting a padding, I'll just put a break tag. Let's see, this have a color of primary. Let's see. Okay, that's cool. So I really don't want to start stressing myself with CSS and padding, so I'll just do this quickly. Okay, so that's good. So we have a page here. This is just a little thing. This project will be available on my GitHub repo for those of you who want to code it and test it out yourself. So sorry, I'm going to be using the pay with form actions, and I've already tested it out. You can see it here. Let's try that again. And pay. So there, can pay. This is good. Okay. So how did we build this? Let's get into that. Okay, so one thing you guys should know is that this block here is a reactive block, and I'll get into that in a bit. Let's focus on our form first of all. So in the form section here, this form that you're seeing here is actually a sort of variable, right? And you're exporting it here, so export let form. So it's like a variable. So once you export it, if you go over to Sveltekit documentation, you learn about Sveltekit's action, page actions. So yeah, this is the action, and it's query, and it's going over to the pay. Now where you define this whole pay action and all of that is going to be inside your server.js file. Just using server.cs for some reasons. It's nothing complicated, nothing much. I'm only using this so that I can be able to not have any errors in my code, and all those red underlinings of variables and all of that, I really don't like it. So yeah, that's why. Okay, so this slash question mark slash pay is how you write it out in SvelteKit. So if you come over to here, you export a variable called actions. It's a constant variable. So here we have our pay, which our forms action is going to send it to. So this is what we're going to do, right? We are going to write everything from scratch, just so you understand this. Okay, so yeah, let's do this. Save this. We're going to yeah, let's just remove this. Okay, so you see our page has nothing in it. So we're going to start out by writing out our script stack. Oh, sorry. We're using JavaScript, so don't worry. Whether I use TypeScript or JavaScript, it really doesn't matter. So we're going to import a few things for our Svelte strap. Okay, so that is that. We're going to export let form, which is going to be our variable that's coming from the form. Now we can just put this in the main tag or body, anyone you like. For those of you who would like to learn this, you can just use body, anyone. So I'm going to be using the container variable, the container component, and inside that we're going to have a h3 that says donate. I'm just going to style this up a little bit. Text align, what? Center. Okay, now we're going to have our form. Okay, so this is what our form is going to look like. Right, we're going to have h5s possibly, name. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. So name, email, and amount. Okay, so now let's start with our HTML. We'll have to give this a name, or possibly let's say name. Right. So we don't have to bind a value with anything. I hope you understand that. So we don't have to bind a value with anything. We can otherwise put a placeholder and says that says name. Let's put a line break there. Line break 2. So we're going to come over here and add an input tag. Basically, if you know how to write HTML code, this shouldn't be a problem for you. Okay, so next is this input. Okay, so I'm going to explain this in a bit. Okay, now the name property as attribute you're seeing here is very vital. This is what helps this form variable to be able to identify each of these input tags and get their values. So rather than using the DOM element that as you do with normal vanilla JS, you just have to put in this with SvelteKit, just put in a name and pass in whatever the name should be. Now we're going to specify where this should be submitted to, which is going to be we're going to go to action and question mark slash pay, for instance. Then always define a method, because the default method is going to be a get method, so always define a method as post or whatever. Now we want this form to prevent itself from reloading, therefore our values may not entirely always come out. Okay, so from $sign app slash forms, we're using getting enhance, so we're using enhance here. Okay, so yeah, this is what it's going to be like. Let's see how it's going to look like on the page. Okay, that's nice, that's nice. So let me just quickly remove this. Yeah, it looks more like it. This. Okay, that's cool. So like I said, I want a home button up here. Let's put our style. Okay. That doesn't really matter, Sha. It's just a little something. Okay, so now the main thing we're going to work on, if you notice, is just no matter what you do, it doesn't do anything here. So now we need to have our page.server.js or .ts. TS is TypeScript, JS is JavaScript. It doesn't really matter, anyone you do. Okay, so inside you make sure they are inside the same directory, the page.svelte and page.server.ts or .js, anyone you like. So this is what we're going to do here. I'm using environment variables, so I'm going to import everything as .env from .env, .env.config. This is just to set up the whole environment variable process so we can use in our code. So now I read all the values from our environment file here, the .env file, which should be inside your source folder. It shouldn't be anywhere else. It shouldn't be inside your source folder. It should be inside your root folder, right? So what do we need next? Now I like doing this, though it's a long process though. I won't do that this time. Okay, so we're going to export const actions pay, going to be asynchronous low Okay, so we're just going to head over to Sveltekit documentation and see what's like it. Okay, so form actions, see what it's like, right? So yeah, that's what we're doing here. Okay, this is supposed to be an arrow function. Okay, yeah, this is supposed to be an arrow function. So while using the fetch API in this situation, So first of all, I want to declare variables such as let name, sorry, let data equals to form data. Yeah, so that is also form data that we're getting from the form variables at the front end. Okay, so one more thing, don't forget you have to use the structure, use the request here, because it's going to pass in requests. This is a request parameter. So what are you complaining about? Okay, we're using TypeScript. You can just do this. Probably, I don't think so. No, I don't know how to use TypeScript myself, so that doesn't really matter. So let's see. Let name equals data dot get value of name. Let amount equals to data dot get the amount multiplied by 100. And then what else? Let email equals to data dot get then the value of email. Now this is where that naming comes into play. The naming comes into play because you're using these names now as the identifiers on this server side here. So now what we'll do next is just declare our variable. So let's say once let response equals to we're going to the fetch API. So now the fetch API takes in two parameters. One is a URL and second is the parameters or whatever is to be gone to the URL, and at the same time the type of request I'm making. So if you okay, so yeah, this is how to use the fetch API, right? You can use it in this way. Oh, wow. So yeah, you can use it in this way. URL here, for instance, can do this. So now we're going to go back to Paystack and see how their documentation is like. Okay, so first of all, this is their API. https api.paystack.co/transaction/initialize. To copy that, let's just assign to a variable called URL. Okay, so fetch this URL and then do this to it. Method, first of all, is going to be a post method. Headers, so we're going to have our headers. First of all, authorization. And that is going to be where our environment variable comes in. Okay, so one thing you need to know is that you always need to add this word bearer, the string bearer, then your how do I put it, your secret key. Yeah, so your secret key is what authorize the transaction. So that I think mine is paystack underscore secret underscore key. Okay, so after that, normally we'll just do this content type application/JSON. Okay, so those will be for our headers. So see it here. These are the headers. These are the two parameters that will be passed on to the headers. That's why you see H and H. Then the D here is for data as well as body when using fetch API. Then the method is post. So I've declared our method, which is post, our headers, which has this authorization with the authorization key, which involves the word bearer, then the authorization key, then content type of application slash JSON. Let me do this instead. It's more beautiful. Okay. So what is next? Our body. The body is what comes next. So that we're going to be using JSON.stringify name. Yeah, we don't really need to bother about name or about reassigning key value pairs. We don't need to worry about that anymore, because automatically this is already pairing up with this is already pairing up with this and all that, unless you say, okay, name, let's say I declare a different variable called username now. So I want the value of name to be set to username. Now in the API, you must have an email and an amount. So if I want the email that is being passed to the API to actually show, I need to use this word email, right? But let's say the email value is coming from a different variable. For instance, let's say and I'm using capital E AIL equals to this at test.com. Now if I want email to have a value, I'll just simply do this and tell that, okay, this should be a value email. So it's no longer using this value, rather using this value now. Well, I believe for you to have come this far to try and look for how to develop a Paystack and Sveltekit, most likely you already know this. Okay, so we stringify this as JSON. Now I'm going to save this. We are having issues with this guy, but it's not really a big deal. Okay, so what we are going to do now is .then. I'm going to do the .then method. Let me declare a variable called no. Okay, yes, let me declare a variable called API response. Okay, so now I'm just going to give it any kind of name. Let's see the response, so to say. So API response is going to be equals to response.json. Now just to be on the safe side, let's console.log API response and see what it's going to be like. What is up? So like I said, we're using TypeScript, so we have this kind of little advantage. Okay, so let's try and see if we can submit our form and see what errors it's going to give us, because we are definitely bound to have errors. So name, let's say dandy email, this, and amount is 2k. Damn, I forgot to make a submit button, but however I can just press enter, probably. Okay, you cannot press enter. Okay, so we are this. If you want, you can just add the type of submit. It doesn't really affect the code. Okay, so I'm just going to make this block. Take color of success. Proceed to checkout. I want this text to be bold. Okay, so name, email, and amount, and let's pay. Okay, we can just simply come over here and use form data. I think I also saw that here somewhere. Oh yeah, we made a mistake. We had to await this. It's a promise kind of situation. So let's try that again. Okay, no minded keywords. Name, email, amount, proceed to checkout. So yeah, it's working, and yeah, it's working. So API response is a promise, and yeah, it's working. So what we're going to simply do here is return API response. So now when we come here, we can now console. Okay, now this is what's going to happen. We're going to use the reactive block because it's always very, very helpful to use a reactive block. Reactive checks if any variable or anything in the code the values of anything in the code has changed. So now the reactive code is going to check if anything has changed. So now let's assume if form is not equal to null, is not equal to null. This is what I want you to do. Console.log the value of form. Okay, so let's see how that is going to go like. Okay, so that is working, but it's not logging form. Now okay, there's one last thing. I noticed that thing during my code work. We're going to have to import browser from $app/environment. Now we're going to check if the browser variable actually is there to be sure that this is not running on the server, try running on the browser, the client side. So yeah, let's try this again. So most likely, yeah, it's not going to give us any errors, but then watch what is going to happen. Import go to from $app/navigation. Now let's check this out. Let's not use this browser, for instance. Let's not use the browser variable. Let's just simply call go to and then form.data.authorization. What are the list of variables that are here? Authorization URL. If you notice this, yeah. So you can see it's giving us some issues, some really funny issues. So now what exactly is it returning? What exactly is it returning? Let's make this into a JSON format. Let's reload this. Let's try this again. That's weird. But I did this the other time. Anyways, I exported form. I'm checking if form is null. Then let's do this. Console.log form. Let's going to comment this out. See what we can do. So now it's actually giving us errors. Okay, yeah, sorry, let's change this, because once the promise is resolved, or it actually the promises are either resolved or rejected. So once it's resolved or it passes, that's a success, that is it. Or then if there's an error, let's catch this error. Let's try this again. Okay, so it's working. So as you can see, it's working. Okay, so let's see. So you see, it just automatically wants to redirect us. So now, instead of that, let's rather have a function called redirect. So async function redirect. I'll just say redirect. So await, go to spelled async wrongly. Okay, so yeah, this is consoling the form, and we can see that it's doing something. So I'm not going to call that redirect function. You guys are going to join me to build this app, okay? So it's undefined. Why is it undefined? Okay, this is what's going to happen. Let's only log this guy and log the word. This is the one's response. So let's see what is going to happen. So this is the form's response. Okay. So let's log form dot data. So I have a feeling that, okay, I was spelling it wrongly. What am I saying? Authorization. So now one thing you should know is that logging sensitive information like this to your console, it's not safe. So there we have it. It's working. But then I would like you guys to observe something. Now this code might run, it might work initially, but after some time it might start giving some weird errors. So always make sure you check if the browser variable is true or false, so I know it's whether it's running on the client side or not. So always make sure that is there, so you don't have any future complications. Now it might not give you complications, some people might give them complications, like mine, it gave me complications. So I really did not like it. It took me some time of research. So yeah, that's just it. It's fun moving phones up and down as if now in I'm using Insomnia. Some people can use Postman or whatever, but I use Insomnia. So I'm trying to get the list of transactions with this API key, this API here /transaction. Okay, let's remove this first. Okay, so the latest transaction we did, our time is currently 1:30 a.m. Wow. Okay, let me make a unique one that I'm going to definitely observe if while it's doing that, I observe something. Paystack, the transactional updates log is not entirely running well. Okay, now it is. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that is working just fine for us. So we have seen how to use the form actions to create payment. So next time we're going to be doing something similar to this, but with the endpoints, right? We're not going to be using page or server, we're going to be using endpoints. So now we've considered this and considered this. HTML emojis. I've never ever checked this out, so let's just quickly check this out and add it to the project. So we're done with these two. Page will pop up and form actions. So what is going to be next is going to be the fetch API with Axios, and we're going to see how that is going to work for us. So stay tuned, guys. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe. Leave your comment in the comment section below and tell me what you think about this video. If there are any changes you think should be made or something you don't understand clearly, you're free to always hit me up on any of my social platforms. So that's it for today, guys. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace out.